we're starting things off here like a season recap. Like you said, party's over basically. Give us just like a really quick season recap as far as like when did the season start? Any new faces that you got to ride with this year that are memorable. All the different places that you rode, right? Sleds. You did kind of your tour all across the North America, the country,
coast to coast,
coast to coast. And so just give us kind of like a brief, recap of how the season went.
Yeah,
Sure.
We'll try and keep it brief. There's been a lot. I mean, we've lived a lifetime this season. This is season 9 of Boondock Nation that we've been filming for. So we do a half-hour broadcast TV series that airs in the fall, and that's how Boondock Nation started. We can get into that later, but each year we set out with the goal to film in different snowmobile destinations, and this year we picked several new destinations across North America, and we chronicle the whole journey on YouTube, with our weekly series, and then in the fall, the broadcast season comes out. So that took us all over the place. I mean, you want to start with December and us coming out here?
Yeah, so our winter, chronological riding videos start, December 1st. That's our first day on the snow. We take 2 days to drive out here just because it's 22 hours from Wisconsin. Get out here, have a couple of days to move in, and then we start shooting and going as hard as we can with whatever snow we got. So we got out here. We rode with Dave McClure. We were staying at his place when we moved right out in December, and took advantage of some of the early snow that we got. But then, as you know, it was a dry spell for most of December.
Yeah, so we found great snow over in Teton Valley. We were riding out of Stephen Clark's Teton Base Camp quite a bit towards the end of December and doing the rest of our sled builds there. We had so many sleds this year. I ordered 3 sleds. Dylan ordered 2. Jordan had 2 sleds, and we just were cranking on just wrenching every night throughout December trying to get the sleds built up and ready. So December didn't include much travel outside of our local area here, but we were bouncing all over just trying to find those little pockets of isolated good snow.
Yep.
So once we kind of get the sled shaken down and built in December, we head back to Wisconsin, where we're from, for the holidays, for Christmas with the fam, and then come right back out after New Year's. And we got a nice dumping of snow right at the beginning of January, and that's when kind of the tour began. So we finished up any work on the sleds and then hit the road and headed to the central part of Idaho, and rode with Willie Elam in the Fairfield area, the Sawtooths.
Yeah.
So I've been to the Sawtooths in the summertime, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Is it the same way in the wintertime?
We have yet to get up to Stanley and Sun Valley, the proper Sawtooths up there that I think everyone really knows, and that's definitely on our list. But the Fairfield stuff, you can ride in. It's a long ways to get there, but you ride in, you're riding them, and it's cool. There's a lot of snow, a surprising amount of snow when we were there, and the consistency was good, and no tracks too because it's just so remote.
It's in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I've been to Idaho.
Yeah, and Willie Elam, he's a friend of ours that we've gotten to know over the years. He's a freestyle guy on moto and sleds, X Games medalist, another fly rider, super cool dude. So it was cool to kind of check out his backyard. And from there, we continued on to Oregon, and that was the west coast side of the coast-to-coast tour. So went out and rode Lapine, which was cool. I mean, we were just south of Mount Bachelor riding all these volcanoes, and there's lava rock just piled up all over in there. So there's jumps through the trees, which we really liked, and all kinds of features and
caves,
poppers and stuff. Yeah, and then all that.
Yeah, did a lot of weird cave hopping. It rained while we were there.
I remember that it
a lot.
poured,
right?
Yeah.
We got over an inch while we were riding.
Yeah.
And then the next day they were supposed to get 2 inches. So we opted out of that one since our gear didn't dry out even overnight. But it was extremely cool. And despite the rain and poor snowmobiling conditions, we had a blast. We saw a lot of good stuff, and I think it left a really good taste for us to come back and get some more this coming season, hopefully.
Yeah, you're literally riding in the tops of volcanoes. You come up to the
That's
top,
crazy.
you're riding in the crater.
Cool.
They're treed up now because it's been so long. But that was super neat. We were there for the Oregon State Snowmobile Association convention. They do it pretty different in Oregon. It's all grooming funded by fundraising and by the individual clubs, like not by the Forest Service. So the grooming's actually really good, and they do a lot for the snowmobile community and a lot in Washington, D.C., even fighting for our sport, taking it to that level of advocacy. So we went and spoke at the convention too, just to share our experience in growing Boondock Nation from being, just a grassroots thing of us in the Midwest to what it is today, and how avalanche safety has been a huge part of our mission and what we do, and getting the awareness side out there. And I think we're seeing that culture progress too over the past few years. So that's been awesome, and it was cool to just meet an entirely new community of people. It felt like home. Honestly, they were so accepting of us. It was great.
Sweet. So that was Oregon. That was all before.
That was all in January. Yeah.
Because
we crammed it all in January for sure. A lot of stuff.
We should have mentioned Out West Sled Fest before that too.
That's the end of January. Well, you guys went to Oregon right after Sled Out West.
Correct.
Right.
We left like the next day.
Yeah.
So Out West Sled Fest, Island Park, Idaho. You guys are there. It's a big event. It's becoming a big event, and the whole community has kind of jumped on board. So there's something different going on every night there throughout the week. Lots of people come to town now for that event. So we've got some big plans for that next year. Just based on the success we've had the last couple of years.
Yeah, I know when we talk with our people, it's like, if you are planning a trip out west, this is the week to do it, because you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck. You're going to get more other people who you may know or be familiar with are going to be in town. They're all going to be in one centralized place. If you're going to go to the Island Park, Teton, West Yellowstone area, like that's the week to do it for sure.
That is true. It's very unique seeing all of those people from the industry in one spot. It doesn't happen very frequently.
Yeah, and lots of newcomers each year too. And like this year, the snow wasn't the best in Island Park.
Yeah.
And the event was still a huge hit. I mean, there's better snow pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
But it just, to me, that proved that snowmobilers are out there for the community as well. Like it is, like you can have great riding and epic snow, but it really is all about who you ride with.
Yeah.
So getting to meet new people, and not only us, but all the people that are there, like getting to network with others and make new riding groups and friends and stuff like that. I think it's a really cool opportunity. So that was January. February threw us a bit of a curveball. We headed out to Colorado, or down to Colorado, I should say, to do a tour through Grand County. We were going to hit Kremling, Granby, and Grand Lake. So Kremling's known for rabbit ears, obviously pretty legendary. But then we headed out to ride the burn that happened in the East Troublesome Fire back in the fall of 2020. So this burn covered like 125,000 acres, ton of public land, ton of private land too, lost a ton of homes. And it had been closed to access for safety reasons over the past couple of years because of like falling trees and everything that can happen with a big burn like that. But this year it opened up to riding. So
was it pretty epic?
Very cool.
I can imagine it just cleans the ground right up, right?
Yeah, they have access to places that they said were never rideable before. So there's a lot of cool terrain, and they're definitely making the most out of it down there, and it's starting to get a little bit of positive light that way, which is great.
Yeah,
cool.
So we did 2 days in each of those destinations, and then we were going to leave straight from there with the truck and trailer to drive back to Wisconsin and Michigan and go ride the UP of Michigan. But there was no snow.
So
literally no
snow.
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 Trails never even opened back in the Midwest this year, in Wisconsin.
Yeah, in northern Wisconsin.
In northern Wisconsin. Yeah.
I mean, I asked my 95-year-old grandmother, who's lived up there like most of her life, if she's ever seen a winter like this, and it was a resounding no.
Yeah.
Like we just don't have that. I mean, I've rarely seen the trails like not open at Christmas.
Yeah.
It's usually beginning of December. So definitely a hard hit for a lot of the businesses up there, and that was the only thing we weren't able to accomplish this year.
Out of your control, but still, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Still a bummer.
But we still had an event to go to, and some reason, we want to see our family. Like, we're out here for a long time, so Dylan's got a wife.
Might be nice to see the wife. So at least one time.
Yeah. So we had a change of plans. Drove back up here, hopped on a flight, and flew back for a week or so, and then from there we flew out to the East Coast and began the East Coast mission.
Yep, we had a lot of travel just flying, obviously, to get out to the East Coast. Flew into Portland, Maine, got in after some delays at about 10 p.m. Chet from Backwoods BMP picked us up, and then we drove 12 hours north up to Quebec to ride the Gaspé Peninsula there with the Sled Den. I don't know if you're familiar with the Sled Den at all. Yeah. They got a lot of snow. They had like a big nor'easter come through 3 days before we were supposed to leave. We had our tickets like planned out in advance, so we just extended the trip a little bit on either end, or on the back end, and got up there and made it happen. It was really cool.
Yeah. You guys, it looked like you guys were in like some tight windows.
It's
in some of
really
those
tight
drainages.
trees.
Extremely.
Like you find an opening about this big, it's kind of a little honey hole. Like it's tight.
It's tough.
Yeah.
There's all different size trees. Like their regeneration there is really different. Out here you'll have like stands of consistent sized trees. There it's all different. So there's all kinds of little trees and stuff, and there's air pockets around them. The snow consistency is wild. Your tracks set up really quick because of like the humidity. And I don't know, that those all were adversities that like we weren't expecting, I guess. But the reward was there. I mean, there's 4,000 feet of elevation change in some of these mountains.
Wow.
We were staying at like 20 feet elevation, like right on the ocean. And then you ride up to like 4,000 feet. So there's real mountain riding there. Yeah, there's just nothing above tree line. You know, it's all tight drainages and stuff like that. But probably not the ideal place to learn how to ride off trail, but for an experienced rider, is a fun challenge.
And I'm sure when like you get the POW when it's the day after the big dumping, it's all time riding up there. It's really cool.
They said they were down about 6 feet of snow. There's 6 feet on the ground. They said they usually have over 10. So I'm sure it would have looked a lot different with that extra snow too.
A little bit more clean on the bottom, probably.
Yeah. So that was just something that not many people get to experience. We were having a great time up there. It's totally foreign. I mean, it feels, well, you are in another country. We're in Canada, but everybody's speaking French. You're just in these little coastal towns up there on the Gulf of St. Lawrence. It's pretty wild.
Well, you had mentioned something. I think you were like, it is crazy to be on a snowmobile on a mountain with the Atlantic Ocean as your backdrop. Like you just don't see that very often.
Yeah, definitely like a once in a lifetime type experience for sure.
Yep. So that was a highlight of February. That wrapped up February for us, and then we headed back out here. Took a trip to Cody, Wyoming, to Top of the World Resort. That's kind of north of Cook City, between there and Red Lodge. They closed the road up there, Beartooth Pass, and we park, where the road ends and ride in to Top of the World Resort. And that was a cool little retreat. Check out up there with Mason Miller and his family. They've got a really cool deal going on. So that was cool. Once we got back out in the west, exploring yet another new area, and we rolled into the Jackson Hole Hill Climbs. And you know how that is. Tons of people come to town for that. So we were doing some pretty cool rides around here.
That's probably like the next, if you were to plan a trip out here and you only got one shot, that's probably like the next week to plan, because you've got Jackson Hole Hill Climbs. It attracts a lot of people to one spot. And if you can extend it or stay a week, you can even tap into spring fever.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
Down in Utah with what you guys do. So
Exactly. And March just seems to always deliver.
Yeah.
Too. Like in the 7 years, this was our 7th winter out here. In the 7 years that we've been out here, March is just always epic.
Yeah.
You get big
it's like
pow
the
dumps.
safest month probably.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and there's plenty of coverage. So, yeah, definitely recommend that to people. When winter is over elsewhere, it's still on out here. So Jackson Hole Hill Climbs always cool. We never miss it. We got a ton of friends that come to town for that. And then Spring Fever, new event.
That was a great success. The Beater Cross race was extremely fun that we had out there. Hoping to ramp that up in a big way for next year. And the lodge is great. It was like a chalet style set up out there. Everyone's, hanging out, riding around the track. It's nice weather in the evening on Friday night. Nate's out there flipping burgers and just having a good time. It was really cool. Music going, great vibe.
Sweet.
It's definitely going to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Huge shout out to everyone that came out this year. I mean, there's quite a few people there, and I know sky's the limit with that event. I mean, Beaver Creek Lodge is just so cool.
Yeah.
So we took care of everyone with some T-shirts that came through, and we're stoked to roll in next year and just ramp that one up big time.
Nice. So that's like end of March, and then April's kind of just
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up where there's snow. Let's go chase it.
Yep.
And until it's time to go home.
Pretty much,
Pretty
yeah.
much.
We like to go take the last couple of weeks of April, like you said, go chase the snow around here. There's a lot of big country to get into that we don't really ride any other time of the year.
Yeah.
Can't really do it. So we're always just antsy to go do some of that stuff and then end it on a high note for sure.